And we are back. I just lied to Bryan Broaddus. I told him I was excited to watch these quarterbacks there. What I meant to say to him was I'm excited to be able to work with you again and exchange thoughts and opinions. But boy, hey man, quarterback up there with safety and fullback. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like a quality watch for me. You know what I'm saying? I think I did a good job, Bryan, with my first four. I'm gonna see where we at with it. But boy, I got some good yawns in, and I took some good naps in this chair getting these quarterbacks broken down, Bryan, bro. What was your overall feel for these first four guys? What was your overall thoughts on them?
How about the biggest thought coming out of the four you had me do? Couple of things. First off, I want to say this. Will Howard played really well down the stretch in those playoff games.
He's better than I thought he was, Bryan. We got to talk about Will Howard.
The Michigan game, I watched the Michigan game, and he had a couple of turnovers, one in his own end and one going in that might have cost him the game.
Penn State, Oregon, those games, Bryan, Notre Dame.
They could have killed him. I mean, that Michigan game could have killed him.
Yeah.
And he played really well all year until they lose that game against Michigan.
Yeah.
But man, when you sit down and watch the Oregon game and and the Tennessee game and you watch these games, you're like going, okay, maybe this is there's things to like about Will Howard. I know, just being a college football fan and like you and I watching the games, I'm thinking, Will Howard played okay. No, Will Howard played pretty damn well for, a quarterback that really hadn't been thrown in that many high leverage situations and came out the way he did.
Yeah.
Second thing, I went back and I watched some Shadeur Sanders at Jackson State just to see. He looked slimmer, trimmer. He looked like a different type of body type. He moved better at Jackson State. The ability to kind of by himself, the drift, and all that kind of stuff, which he does at Colorado. He had some drift at Jackson State, but his body allowed him better mobility. And I wonder if maybe some added weight to him. And I'm not trying to say, oh, this is a big fat guy or anything like that. Yeah. I was thinking, like, what kind of athlete am I looking at here? And like I said, I wanted to go and see some of that Jackson State stuff. Much trimmer, better in shape, I believe. He took a beating, at Colorado, first year there. And then, the second year they improved with some things, moved around. He's still throwing to the left. Is incredible how he does that. But I kind of wonder if he goes back and looks at himself at Jackson State, maybe taking some weight off, and it'll help his athletic ability a little bit more. He's a good athlete. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if he's the, when you watch and it's, the guys you're watching Ward, you're watching Milroe. I mean, these dudes are friggin' getting it. And even watching Howard to an extent with some of the design runs. And you're wondering, Shadeur Sanders design runs? Maybe not. But I kind of feel like that the observation of that guy at Jackson State dance around a little bit and kind of find some. He dances around a little bit at Colorado, but there's kind of a slowness to his game. I like the player a lot. Don't get me wrong. I just wonder.
Do you think the perceived
I don't know if it's
slowness?
I don't think it's competition.
Okay.
I don't think it's competition. I think there's some schools that he was competing against that you could see where they're trying to stop him and they're getting some pass rush on him and he's moving and he's dodging and he's running. You could see that. Colorado kind of cumbersome the way he runs a little bit. I mean, he could get out of the pocket and move, but these guys that we watched, Ward, Milroe, and Howard, even to that extent, better taking legs and going. Yeah. Milroe's
he's different.
He's different.
Yep.
Milroe is different. I just wonder with Shaduer if somebody kind of trims him up a little bit. He might that mobility that I saw at Jackson State might be there for him.
Well, Bryan, let's get into it, man. You know, we don't have to do the favorites this week because they all quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? But I will tell you where I kind of got them ranked. And I will. Bryan, you know, I don't want people to lean into my rounds too much because I don't really know how to place quarterback because, you know, when you draft quarterback, there's a tax that comes along with drafting a quarterback. But I know that I put them on my board where you would draft them. You know what I'm saying? So do you put quarterbacks on your board by talent level or do you stay consistent with the where you would draft them?
I kind of look at where I would draft him.
Okay.
But now what you have to think about is this is how I looked at these quarterbacks the first four. I felt like that Cam Ward is one of my top 15 players.
Okay.
I didn't feel that way with Shadeur Sanders.
Okay.
I felt Shaduer Sanders was more in that some of the range between 16 and then start to compare him with maybe some guys you have, you know, maybe you're comparing him to Golden, Mimbow, Warren, maybe Walker, Will Johnson for that number, you know, Watts, Starks. Where does he fit? Is he the 16th best player or is he the 22nd best player? That's how I think I would look at Shaduer Sanders. I'm comparing him to, like I say, my top guys: Golden, Warren, Mimbu, Johnson from Iowa. Yeah. You know, Grant, Walker, Will Johnson, Watts, Starks. That's kind of how I'm comparing him. So is he player 16, or when we get to the stack, is he player 21 or 22?
I got a second round grade on Ward and Sanders because I feel like Ward versus quarterbacks that I'm used to being like that are used to like being first round type talents or whatever. I think about like Andrew Luck probably got the perfectest grade as like a first round type quarterback, right? Or you think about like the Cam Newtons or, you know, the Lawrences and all these guys as like first round type talents. I don't see Ward and Sanders like that. I see Cam Ward closer to what a Jalen Hurts was. That makes sense? I see him closer. Sure. I see him closer to him than a Andrew Luck, Cam Newton type. So I got Cam Ward and Sanders in the second round, and I got Howard and Milroe in the third. That's kind of how I got them graded. You know? I went Ward in the first. Could be player, and I got 15 first round grades. Could be 16. Yep.
Could be number 15.
15. Yeah.
I've got Sanders in the second. Could be number 16 or could be 20. I think Ward's a better player than Sanders. Yeah, me personally, I do. Howard in the fourth, Milroe in the fourth is how I got that right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that maybe, and I was debating on putting Howard in the third. I really was. Milroe, I wonder if he's like our guy Willis, who now plays with Green Bay, that you're going to have to, you're going to have to really work with him. You're going to have to, the arm talent's there, the design runs are there, the escapability is there, is the accuracy there. You could watch the Georgia game and fall in love with this kid. Yeah. And you could watch the Michigan game and absolutely say, what the hell? Yeah. Kind of a thing. And I think that's kind of where we're at. So a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 4 is how I went on my grades.
Cam Ward, Bryan. I said he had a big arm, not a super stupid arm, but he does have a pretty pretty big arm that's big enough to make throws at all levels. He makes throws in the middle of the field, short, medium, deep. He does all that nicely, Bryan Broaddus. I did mention his athleticism. When I see Ward run, I see him extend more than escaping, right? And this is all in context of me watching all these guys together. Like Milroe runs and escapes. I do think Ward moves around to buy himself some time, but I think he runs when all of his reads are gone, or maybe he like missed a guy, and then that's when he'll get away. I looked at his measurements, Bryan, because we got this Illuminati measurement sheet. I thought that he ran bigger than what his weight was. I feel like when he did run and try to finish those runs, sometimes I imagine coaches are going to tell him to slide. But when he did finish those runs, he finished like a big tank type guy. And Bryan, in modern football, I think it's important, right? Because this is my thing. I think all these quarterbacks are going to be mobile. So I think when I'm giving draft analysis, we have to talk about what kind of mobile they are. Like, are you Allen mobile? Are you Jackson mobile? Are you like Mahomes mobile? Like, it's different types of mobile now. So I think Ward ran in a punishing type fashion, but not like a Lamar slashing. He would try to finish guys, but more than likely he would slide and stuff. I think he has some trouble playing, trying to play hero ball sometimes, Bryan. I think, if you have a big arm like that, you would try to make all the throws. But I don't think that he has accuracy to accurately always try to make all the throws. There's another common theme that I'm going to say about 3 out of 4 of these guys. I think the offense was really tailored to some easy stuff. You know what I mean? Like not a lot of reads that they would have to go through, but I can't knock them for that because that's what I think the NFL reads are. I think if you have a quarterback that doesn't make great reads, or just many reads, I think that's what the playbook is going to be in the league. I think he also got in trouble when he stared down receivers, Bryan. When I saw Cam Ward throw the ball to the other team or just make terrible throws, he was playing hero ball. He was running around trying to make something happen when he should have thrown the ball away. Or he was staring guys down and he'll throw right where he was looking at and it'll get picked off, deflected, or whatnot. Sometimes it just feels like the ball got away from him sometimes. I did think when he made good throws, whether it be down the field, outside the numbers, of course he has the arm too, but his touch was inconsistent with me. Sometimes it looked like he had really good touch downfield. Other times, some overthrows, some whatever, right? Just kind of up and down for me. I didn't see consistent of enough reader, and I didn't just touch enough for me. Bryan, what I'm looking for is your athleticism, your touch, and consistently can you make reads. And I didn't think Cam did all that perfectly, but I think he did it enough to be the best quarterback in this draft, Bryan Broaddus. So that's why I got him at.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. I think I went back. I was curious too about some of the Washington State stuff.
Sure.
I went back. I'm like, let me just get a game of Washington State.
Oregon and Washington, those games. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, just kind of get an idea how he was going to play. Maybe the quarterback always seems the one that I have to feel like, okay, do you do the 3-4? How many games does it take?
Absolutely.
You just do the games until you feel good about the player. A quarterback is a weird one.
I did 5.
Yeah, exactly. You just feel strange about it. I will say this. He is one of the most dynamic players that I studied. I think there's some really talented offensive players, but this guy is really, I think he's dynamic. I do think he's got one of the best arms in college football. I think the velocity, I think the strength, I think it's right, left. I think he could throw it on a rope. I think that the velocity does allow him to fit some balls in some difficult spots. I don't think he has a fear of any throw. I really don't. I mean, you can watch the Cal game and kind of see that. They're fighting their ass off to have to rally, and he's making throws to get them back in that game. I think he operates well over the middle of the field. I do think he's got some anticipation to deliver the ball when the windows are closing on him a little bit. He's trying his best to keep his eyes down the field and able to locate, despite when things are kind of breaking down around him. There's times where he's spinning around and he's losing track, but then he finds a guy. Man, I was super impressed by that. I feel like he can make some throws from the structure of the pocket. There's an element to his game that bothers me, that he doesn't always get his feet set, but his arm talent is that where he could deliver the ball off the back foot and he could kind of get away from it. We mentioned about drifting in the pocket a little bit. His football could be a little wild. It's something that Shadeur Sanders, we mentioned, that does as well. But you don't see Ward struggle with sacks like Sanders does.
Right.
And so I kind of felt like this is an area that he kind of needed to be a little bit more mindful of. He has the ability to buy the second and third chances. That's super impressive. The balance in the pocket when defenders are trying to pull him down, they're ripping at his jersey. He kind of slings out of it, gets to the field, gets up the field. The arm angles. I mean, like I said, I went back to some of his Washington State games, and I had a better feel for the deep ball there than I did at Miami. So that's kind of what I was looking for. He might have some Jordan Love to his game from the Packers.
That's a good one.
When you watch Utah State.
Yeah.
You watch Utah State, Jordan Love, there's that kind of that big element, the big moving around, kind of, making throws, running away from guys, pockets breaking down. The ability to throw off balance and get away with it, I think that's something Jordan Love did at Utah State. Kid's won everywhere he's been. He is from West Columbia, Texas. So he is a Texas kid. And, man, I really do like the kid. I think he's going to say, I think he's good enough to put in my top 15. Mm-hmm. Will he be number one? I don't know when I start comparing all the other guys. I think that when I look at guys like, with what I have with Hunter, with Genty, what I think about Carter, McMillan, I need to kind of think about that. My love for Simmons as well, my love for Graham from Michigan. He will be in my top 15. So that's where I have him right now, and that's kind of what I saw with the player.
Bryan, why do you feel like Ward and Milroe didn't take a bunch of sacks, but Sanders did? They're all mobile. They're all mobile, yeah. But why did Sanders take more sacks than them?
I think Sanders has a problem with his eye level. I think Sanders looks at the rush, and it might very well be because of what happened to him 2 years ago. He's thinking like he drops back. Matter of fact, today I was watching while I was doing my radio show. I was watching the Ward workout from Miami on the NFL Network.
Yeah.
A lot of snaps from underneath center. A lot of snaps. They're asking these guys, these workouts, hey, can he drop back? Can he drop back? Can he drop back? I think the thing with Sanders, I said it about, and it's going to sound like I'm talking about his conditioning.
Sure. But
I'm talking about, I think if he wasn't, and he's 212 pounds, but if he was, when you watch our guy play for the Commanders, he's rail thin, he's 205, yeah. And he's got quick feet and he's all that. But a little bit lighter guy might be, I think there's some times where Shaduer gets back, he drifts, but he doesn't have that Milroe or Ward, that ability to get away.
Sure.
Or like our guy from the Commanders. Yeah. You could drift, but can you plant and get out of there? Can you spin or duck, and can you get out of there? But I do feel like Shadeur's eye level goes from being downfield to looking at the rush, and it's usually coming off his right side. There's a lot of times you watch Shadeur Sanders, it's not so much left side pressure, right side pressure. Gets, he's bouncing off guy. I mean, his tackle's bouncing off him as he's trying to slide forward, and he makes a lot of throws where he's running at the line and slinging it, because of how the width of the pocket is getting closed down on. But I think maybe his conditioning from that aspect, and I think the eye level gets to be a problem for him especially when he's drifting.
Bryan, Shadeur Sanders is a strange character, man.
Strange character, but man, the guy makes some plays.
He makes some plays.
He makes some really good plays. He does.
And he doesn't have that same arm as Ward. You know what I'm saying?
No, hell no.
You don't really see the zip on his all the time. His kind of flutter a little bit.
Yeah.
And Bryan, I asked myself, should I give Sanders more points for what he's working with? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Cam Ward has a cool little crew around him. Will Howard has a fantastic set of guys around him. Milroe.
There's no question. Yeah.
I feel like out of the four guys that we've watched today, and I understand Travis Hunter plays wide receiver for Colorado, but I think Sanders has the least to work with out of everybody that's on this list today. But he keeps this offense on time, Bryan. And I think he's really accurate. I think he makes some really good throws. I'm not going to mention the simplistic nature of the offense because everybody goes through it. You got to do with whatever helps you move the ball and win. That's it.
They do it. I mean, you could even say it about what Will Howard's going through at Ohio State with all those great players.
Sure. Yeah. But very simple. A lot of RPOs, a lot of quick game, a lot of bubbles, a lot of hitches. The game is the game. I have to respect Sanders because I know how much I don't like Wester and Horn that much. You know what I mean? But I got to respect him a little bit. Bryan, this dude is tough, man. I need to, if you don't mind, right? Just, gang of seven wise. I got to figure out what's the idea about the personality on him. Like, what are people worried about with him personality wise? Well, because I don't think he's some crybaby. I don't think he's some diva. I think this kid got a lot of toughness to him. And I think the offensive line has let him down on many occasions. I think he gets popped in the mouth. If you look up and down his game log, 4, 5, 6, 7 sack games. I think he makes throws downfield knowing a hit is coming and stands in there and makes the throw and gets smacked and get right back up, Bryan. And I just need to know our teams, like what are they knocking on him personality wise? Because he seems like a football guy and he seems very tough when I'm seeing things like that happen on the field, Bryan. Go ahead. Did you have some on that?
Yeah, I was Bill Parcells, and this is and I'm sorry, folks. This is just.
We just talking, we just talking.
This being with Bill Parcells, and last time I was in a room with scouts and everybody was 2005. It's a long time ago. Some of you might not even been born then. I don't know. But the one thing that Bill Parcells was always warning us about was the Hollywood quarterback. He always warned us, you don't want a Hollywood quarterback. It's maybe some of the things that he struggled with a little bit with Tony Romo. With him and Jessica Simpson and stuff like that. He didn't want the Hollywood quarterback. Can I read to you Bill Parcells? I have a document.
Hell yeah.
And it's all notes that Bill wanted about his quarterback. And if you don't mind me, and maybe this will shed some light on Shadeur Sanders if we can. Number one, the quarterback, be mentally tough. Be mentally the toughest and the hardest worker on the team. Must be able to handle the pressure and scrutiny to which all NFL quarterbacks are subjected. He said, Ryan Leaf sets you back years. Make right decisions and make them fast. If he does dumb things with the ball and cannot play, just because a person is smart doesn't mean that he can make all the quick decisions under pressure. Has to be able to throw accurate passes that can be caught by our team. Pretty spirals do not count if they land out of bounds. The word accurate means that the ball is supposed to be thrown to a receiver, right number. That's where it needs to be thrown. If you want to know a quarterback who's a good quarterback, watch the passes that are completed under heavy rush. Watch the first downs they get on third and long. Passing into heavy coverage. Listen to what their teammates say about them. be able to take a big hit, then walk into the huddle and call the next play. Have leadership qualities, whether by example, work ethic, or presence. Be aware of game quitters. They appear to be tough, but they're not mentally tough. Those are all things from Bill Parcells, what he wanted in his quarterback. And he had some guys, he had some tough guys. Bill coached some tough guys. But he also, like you said, I wonder if Bill Parcells was still with the New York Giants and had the 3rd overall pick, if he would pick Shadeur Sanders. But football has changed a lot, folks. And I'm not sitting there trying to tell you that my era was better than what's going on right now, because the players today are really, really, really good. And they're different, but they're exposed to different things. They're being paid in college. They all have really super platforms for podcasts or for social media. So they're really, they're better educated to kind of handle things in the media because they understand the media. But I wonder if a guy like Bill of Shadeur Sanders would be taken by the New York Giants if Bill Parcells was there, just because of now everything that I read about him in the Parcells notes, there's a lot of positives. It's like, yeah, Shadeur Sanders, yeah. But you wonder if that whole thing of when you draft him, you're drafting, and his dad says, Dad came out and said, place needs to be as the Giants. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, not Tennessee, not Cleveland. Sure. And, there's, probably reasons. New York. New York is for the brand, that kind of thing. And that's cool. Like we think of New York and LA as brands. We think of when you're in those markets, you're a brand, And so I just wonder if his dad is thinking that Cleveland's organization sucks. Every quarterback that's gone there has gone and died. Everybody's career. But it's interesting because the top 3 teams, if that guy didn't win at the Titans, that could be a change. Yeah. Cleveland, change. Giants, change. What is really the best place for Shadeur Sanders? It's probably getting all the way down to Pittsburgh at 21. Yeah. Is probably the best spot. But I just kind of I think he's a hell of a player. I really, really, really do. But I think what's happened to him is, he's trying to dig out of a hole of what happened, to him. It's what's happened 2 years ago with the beating. Sure. And I said this in my notes. I don't believe there's any quarterback in the country who's faced more scrutiny than this guy. Right. What a Parcells thinks. Yeah. This kid's poised. He's savvy. He's confident. I just went back and looked at some of his work at Jackson State, where he appeared more mobile than he did at Colorado. He's not the fastest moving athlete, but he moves well enough. And he has a tendency to throw with his feet off balance. But when he does set his feet, that ball comes out of his hand with some pace. He tends to drift around in the pocket or backpedal too deep, take the unnecessary sacks. We talked about that. It is amazing how accurate he could be playing from this platform, that being out of whack the way they are. I mentioned him about Cam Ward. I think his arm talent is good, but not great. Where he beats opponents is with his touch. His accuracy can be very impressive. I've seen snaps where his eyes remain downfield and others where he lowers them to the rush. I mentioned he took a beating in 2023, but better in 2024. He's more willing to stand in there and take hits when he's locked in. His throwing motion tends to be long. You think it's going to be quick, but it's elongated throwing motion. But when it comes to a quick game, when he gets it off quick, I think he's a better passer. I think Pat Shurmur helped him in some ways of his game. And there's kind of a playground element to his game, but it works for this guy. So I think there's a lot of really good things about this kid.
Sure.
And I think the fact that his dad, I think his dad's probably stayed on his ass about things, but there's some things, like I said, I feel like that he's probably going to need more work on, and maybe it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him to start out because eye level and then the mobility stuff.
Got him in round 2. He's a late round two guy for you.
I got him in the top right now. I've got to compare him to where I have the Goldens and those guys, but he is going to be somewhere between 16 and however many guys I got in the second round there. He's going to be somewhere in that mix, but I'm going to compare him to, like I told you, I'm going to compare him to Golden, to Warren, to Mimbu, to Jackson or Booker, to Johnson from Iowa, Hampton, those guys, Grant from Michigan, Walker from Georgia, Johnson from Michigan, Watts, Starks.
Yeah.
I'm going to compare him to all those guys in that round. I'm going to try and stack him where I'd take him in that round.
I'm just not going to put him on my board, Bryan. This is frustrating because I'm watching him. And I'm like, all right, man, I see what we're doing here, but quarterback taxes.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
No, I don't think it's afraid.
I'm saying afraid.
Sure.
Don't be nervous. Don't be apprehensive.
Mm.
The quarterbacks, you get fortunate. I remember people talking to me about Patrick Mahomes. I had a buddy of mine, my godson, went to school at Texas Tech. He says, where do you see Mahomes getting picked? First round. It's first round talent. Man, Uncle Bryan, it's first round talent. You will have and I remember Josh Allen, Wyoming, not accurate. I'm like, there's something about this guy, the size, the mobility. He's throwing to cattle ranchers, He's throwing to guys that aren't going to be in the NFL, but he gets in the NFL. He goes to the perfect city for him. Cold weather environment, tough, hard nose. Ken Dorsey does a great job with him the first year, gets him. He's got a coach that's working on his accuracy. He gets that squared up. He still has problems.
Sure.
But, for you're going to have Josh Allen's and you're going to have those guys, but you're going to have Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
You're going to have a Johnny Manziel, Kevin Turner. You're going to have one of those guys, but you can't let that deter you. I know from just there were times in Green Bay, Brett Favre, second round grade on the board, and then has a Hall of Fame career. We traded for that, but that's kind of where he was. That's where he was.
Yeah.
Steve McNair. I remember being in Green Bay, big, bulky kind of quarterback. Steve McNair, Alcorn State, second round grade. I think he was picked third overall.
Yeah.
These guys. This is not for the faint of heart to do.
Sure.
But you do it because then you can remember, like I said, this reminds me of this kid a little bit, or he reminds me of this guy.
Yeah.
And you kind of, maybe that paints a little bit better picture in your head. People can say, oh, you liked him. For every time they tell me about a guy I hated, I remind them of Allen and I remind them of Mahomes.
Sure.
And guys like that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, man, Jaylen Milroe, my report ain't too long, bro. I say he's a sometimes guy.
He's a sometimes guy.
I say, man, if you watch the damn Georgia tape, you go, woo!
Exactly.
Look at that first overall pick right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Oklahoma and Missouri had you like, damn, what's going on? What's going on, my boy?
Michigan had him that way too in that bowl game. And by the way, Michigan, let's give a little credit for I was watching tape with Michigan, and I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh, please.
But our defensive coordinator there, Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale, he got after Jaylen Milroe, and he got after Will Howard in Michigan. But see, that's a pro coach.
Yeah.
Kind of some pro ideas.
Some looks.
Some looks. Yeah. Some looks.
Well, he didn't do good versus the pro looks Bryan.
No.
But it was cool with all the other stuff, man. Like I said, man, sometimes he can rip it. Sometimes, I mean, I think Bama's offense was the easiest out of all of them. You know, as far as, you know, how complex it was. But hey, man, sometimes he was accurate. Sometimes he was delivering the ball downfield pretty good. Sometimes it wasn't. But if it's anything that you can vouch for is him and his legs, man. Like he is electric, legs wise, right?
Yeah.
And Bryan, there's a quarterback in Philadelphia that I don't think that highly of. And we can pretend like he's been good this whole time. But he left and went to Oklahoma for a reason, Bryan. I personally feel like Jaylen Milroe can be fixed depending on if his offense coordinator is good or not, if the team around him is good or not, and he leans on them legs like he does. I think there's a path for him to be really good in the league. But there are many paths for him to be bad in this league, Bryan. Many paths. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions because he's so electric. You know what I'm saying? He if he does get sacked, it's because he dropped his eyes and he ran into somebody and they kind of let him sack them on that. But he escapes. He runs away. He runs away really well. Like I said, man, that if you can make any game his always games, go to that Georgia tape. Because some games no
question. Go to LSU. Watch him play LSU, yeah.
Some games he throws well. Some games he runs well. In Georgia and LSU, he did both those really well. I didn't care for his 2023 tape at all. So I kept it 2024 for this for the most part. Bryan, tell me what you think about Jaylen Milroe, man, because I ain't got a whole bunch to say about him.
No, I tell you what. I mean, he's from Katy, Texas, by the way. He's one of the most explosive athletes that I've scouted this season. I mean, seriously. It's just his explosive plays are unbelievable. He's a powerfully built guy at 6'2", 217. He's more like a running back than a quarterback. There's several snaps where he appeared trapped and he was able to find his way out of trouble. He has some brilliant starts to games, like you mentioned, Georgia, and then awful ones like Michigan. He has an NFL arm, but like Ward or Sanders, he's going to need work on his footwork. It will affect his delivery some when his footwork's off. But he can get through reads when he has the time. Michigan got after him pretty good, and that was a problem for him in the pocket. There were some snaps where you see him throw some really good deep balls, and a couple of receivers would go get it. When he wants to get rid of the ball, he can do it. He'll make some good throws when he's on the move, but not like Ward or Sanders. I think those guys are somewhat elite throwing the ball on the move. Yeah. This guy could punish you as a scrambler. I mean, he really can punish you as a scrambler. Design runs are perfect for him. All he needs is a lane and he can finish. He doesn't always play with rhythm as a passer. He gets out of rhythm as a passer. And he'll struggle with his anticipation and he'll make his receivers work some for the ball, and other times he'll put it right where it needs to be. His kid's already graduated. He's a highly decorated student athlete. So, here you are talking about those kinds of things. His athletic ability, I think, is better than his accuracy. I said he has a tons of tools to work with. I kind of compared him. He might be like Malik Willis from the Packers and Liberty University. Started at Auburn is where I believe he started. But yeah, it's kind of what I think about Milroe. I have him in the 4th round right now is where I have him.
Yeah. I was so surprised at this Will Howard kid, Bryan. You watch quarterbacks in passing, just all year, you just watch them in passing. And I was ready to walk into the Will Howard film going, oh, yeah, he's just one of them cats,
He's like he's got great receivers. And
he probably, good leader or whatever. Man, Bryan, I didn't see his early season film.
I did. I watched one early, just to get an idea, and then the late ones. Yeah.
So that's how you were able to conclude his late run or whatever.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah,
I feel wild. Like if you got postseason footage, that's what I want to see the most.
Oh no, I carry on.
So I watched all the playoff games,
the Michigan game, and all the playoff games. Yeah, for sure.
Tennessee, Notre Dame. I watched Oregon twice. Those games. Bryan. Yeah. We might have one in Will Howard, sir.
I might have him too low in the fourth.
I got him. I got him in the third, Bryan. I have him in the third.
Good for you.
I think the offense scheme wise that he runs is more complex. Is the most complex than everybody's. Now he still has his RPO.
Well, that's Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly, who's going to the Vegas Raiders now.
Okay.
You know, Chip Kelly, who was at Oregon, who 2 years with the Eagles. And
everybody's gonna run their bubbles and their RPOs, bro. It's all good. I'm here. Yeah. He made plays downfield.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. He doesn't have the humongous arm, but he made some plays down the field.
Yeah.
And I say, all right, but they don't have that zip like Ward has. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
Him and Sanders might be comparable in that way. But I saw him kept it all on track, Bryan Broaddus.
Yep.
I saw him make some real tough plays, like some tough runs. I saw him hang in there and take his hits while things develop downfield. I tell you what, though, Bryan, the one thing that he got that these other characters ain't got, he got Jeremiah, he got Emeka, and he got two running backs that just work real. But it is what it is.
Jackson and Simmons up front, and with the center, McLaughlin, our center.
Cadillac, Bryan. Cadillac. Yeah. But what that says to me is that if he goes to a good team in the National Football League, that he'll be able to get the ball to him. In my mind, I thought he got rid of the ball early. I thought he got rid of the ball a long time.
It does.
I didn't see him holding the ball like the other three do sometimes. I thought Cam, Shadeur, Milroe, I thought they'll hold the ball sometimes. I didn't think Will Howard had I don't think he had a hard time holding on to the ball. I thought he got rid of it. I didn't think he got confused down the field, too bad. Sometimes the look would get a little muddy, but I didn't see him throw it into trouble a lot. If anything, he'll take the sack or whatever. But I just putting the ball in jeopardy. I didn't see it a whole bunch. He gave up a real bad pick early versus Penn State though.
Yeah,
real early, threw it right to that boy. But maybe that's what you get for calling this one read ass play, and it was obviously going that way. And damn Penn State kid did it. But I thought he was poised in the pocket, Bryan. I thought he stood tall, big kid. Looking at
6'4", 236. Yeah,
looking at the Illuminati sheet, he's heavy, Bryan, which makes sense now when you watch him and they run the. He has design runs.
The design runs. Yeah,
he has design quarterback runs. He started to lower his shoulder on people.
Third and two. It's boom, and then just go forward. Yeah,
I say, Bryan, why he lower his shoulder on people? I say, why they running tush push? I say, why are they running that old Florida Tebow play? Because he big. I didn't know how big he was. He's a big boy and competitive as all get out. I thought the more it was on the line, I thought the better he got. And I watched him in order, Bryan. I watched from round one to the playoffs to the championship, and I thought that the farther into it you got, I thought the more he wanted to whoop some ass, Bryan. I'm a fan of Will Howard. I don't know if I'd drop a third on him Cowboy-wise, right? I don't know if I would drop a third on him, but if I need a dude, I think that's
you got it right.
I think that's a guy you can develop. Please go ahead.
I was trying to think how I'm going to get him in the third, and all I needed was you to come on board and say. As much as you hate evaluating quarterbacks, I think you did an excellent job of describing Will Howard. I'm serious. I think the only thing that I could add to that is I think he does like pre-snap. I think he knows where he wants to go with the ball.
Sure.
I think he does. And I think he's got a pretty good job of reading pre-snap and then executing the play. His accuracy in the playoff game and the playoff games and championship game was better than what he did at the Michigan game I mentioned. He throws the ball well in tight coverage. His teammates do a great job of going to get it. His ball placement is good. He's like a 76% passer. He plays a lot of snaps in a clean pocket. But when he has to move, he can do just that. His mobility has allowed him to get out of the pocket, and also avoid sacks. And I said he's just enough of an athlete that when Chip Kelly had design runs for him, he was able to kind of do that. He can move the sticks with his running ability. And I don't know if he has the greatest arm talent or arm strength, but his accuracy can make up for that. he had, as I mentioned, 2 really bad throws in the Michigan game, which might have cost him an opportunity to win. But those games in the playoffs, he put all that behind him, all that noise behind him, and he played down those playoff games like he was a first round guy.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of experience, will help him. And like I said, the playoff run was impressive, and the results were even better with the national championship. You didn't see this guy. I mean, his toughness shows up, the transfer, from Kansas State.
Yeah.
So he's played in a lot of games where he's had to try and carry some things. And hell, you never know with your offensive line coach being from Kansas State, is there some type of tell us about Will Howard. Tell us about what, and I'm sure he'll talk about Will Howard like just like you and I did. Sure. He's a tough guy. He's tough.
Yeah.
He took a hit in the Michigan game where he's trying to do a design run. He's trying to lower to get to the sticks, and he got whacked by I think it's a strong safety got him. And he kind of had to sit out of play. They went on 4th and 1, went for it and got it, and then he came back in the game. But if you, like I say, he gets to the right team, this kid might be all right.
I got a third on him. Let's just say he is a third. Do you have to take him in the second because of quarterback tax? Can you see somebody liking him in the late first, Brian? Can you see somebody liking him like that?
I think the guy that might be the like in the late. Now I'm interested to see when we got Jackson Dart coming up.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see I kind of have an idea because I've seen enough Notre Dame tape about Riley Leonard, where he's at.
I know who he is.
Jackson Dart, I need to see. Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I've watched enough Oregon tape. The thing that's going to kill Dylan Gabriel for a lot of people is his height.
He's short,
yeah. And then Quinn Ewers is going to be, that could be a little toxic when it comes to where do you have, is Quinn Ewers better than Will Howard? Is he like Jackson Dart up there? I don't know, man. I think if you like Will Howard, you have to take him the third. You take him in the third.
Brian, let me ask you a question though, right? I feel like I liked Will Howard more than Bo Nix last year. I wasn't a fan of Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy last year.
I think I had Bo Nix in the third round. I think I did.
Bo Nix
dead ass wrong.
And JJ, you wasn't dead ass wrong. Sean Payton works miracles. Your ass ain't wrong at all. I think I like Howard more than Nix and McCarthy, Brian.
How about May?
Do I remember Drake May? I was cool with May. May was fun. See, the problem with May is May will throw 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in the same game.
I like McCarthy, and then I liked May and Nix. Kind of, there was a
you was just separation. Wrong. You was just wrong about May and all them. You just wrong. But man, I know I like him more than Nix though, bro. I damn sure like him more than Nix. All it takes is one team to like him. I can see Pittsburgh taking that kid, man. I don't know.
Take it. Do you think they'll take it? Oh man, do you think they take him? He's better than. Who's a guy that Kenny Pickett?
He better than Kenny Pickett. He better than Kenny Pickett. Brian, I got him higher than. I don't know why the hell Kenny Pickett got drafted in the first round. I got him higher than Kenny Pickett, Brian. I think this kid can be a first round dude. He's better than Mac Jones. I like him better than Mac Jones.
Yeah,
he can be a first round pick, man. It ain't gonna happen though, because you know what I'm saying, teams suck at drafting. But this
know Sean Payton proved this. I mean, Sean Payton took that kid last year, and I called him up. I said, yeah, you told me you liked him. You're like, what do you think about Nix? And I kind of went, well, when he was at Auburn, and Sean goes, oh, okay. Sean took him the first round. I said, you did that, didn't you? He goes, I told you I was going to draft him in the first. And I'm like, I didn't believe you. I did not believe you were going to take that kid in the first. I didn't believe him.
Sean Payton took Bo Nix because of Brian Broaddus' scouting report. That's something else, man. You might as well be working the league, man. You might as well.
Oh no, man, I'm doing good. You and I got big things on the horizon.
Damn, $1 million.
about to make an announcement.
$1 million. And look, Bryan, I don't want to just get $1 million contract. I want one of them big ESPN drops.
Yeah.
Voch Lombardi signs for $1 million. I want one of them.
Yeah.
Pleasure doing business with you.
You're lucky. You're lucky you got people that like you, right?
You got it. You daggone right, Bryan Broaddus. Yes, sir. Great day, Bryan Broaddus. This went much.
Thank you.
This went much better than.
Are you
expected.
on the draft show tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm on there. Yeah, and
Should we bring up these quarterbacks tomorrow? Should we bring these guys up?
Kyle actually sent us a text with the rundown. The quarterbacks ain't on it. So we'll see. I may bring up Will Howard tomorrow for that third segment we got on there because I ain't watched some of them kids. But
hey, if somebody do us a favor, if you're listening to the show tonight or tomorrow, fire in a question. I'm asking our listeners, fire a question into the draft show tomorrow to Kyle Yeomans and ask a question about Will Howard, where you have Will Howard, and see if Kyle pulls it up.
And I'm gonna say, we're gonna get into it. Yeah. I like the more than Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy. Yeah, we're gonna run that. We're gonna do that. Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, y'all write this down. It's gonna be on the test. We got 3 players. We're gonna watch Riley Leonard, Jackson Dart, and Dylan Gabriel. Okay, that's gonna be our 3, and then we're gonna come back with 4 for Friday.
Hey, can we substitute? Can we substitute a guy?
Hell yeah! What you want to do?
Can we put Quinn Ewers? You got a plan for Friday for Quinn Ewers?
No. What do you want to do?
Can we substitute Quinn Ewers for for Riley Leonard? So go Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel.
Okay, we can do that. Easy peasy, no problem. I got you.
Okay.
So just like that, Dart, Gabriel, and Ewers, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Just like that for Wednesday's edition of Doing All Right. Okay, so y'all hop right on that. Get your work in. Follow me at VOCHLONBARDI. Y'all tap in with BRY Yen Broaddus. That went better than expected. All right, so we'll do this again, and I ain't gonna watch quarterback no more past this week.
No, you got to keep watching, bro. We got all
damn.
these guys. You gave me all these guys. We got to watch them all.
I'd be damned if I watch DJ Glunglier from Florida State. We'll catch y'all next time. Love y'all to pieces. Crown.